In sports news, we have cricket. New Zealand sealed the test victory in Sri Lanka after 14 years when they beat the hosts by a comprehensive 167 runs at the Pisara Oval in Colombo this evening. New Zealand also levelled the two-match test series 1-1.
To 244 runs in their first innings in reply to New Zealand's first innings score of 412. The Kiwis declared their second innings after posting 195 runs for the loss of 9 wickets, thereby setting Sri Lanka a target of 363 runs. Resuming day 5 on an overnight second innings score of 47 for 4, Sri Lanka saw vice-captain Angelo Matthews reaching his 10th test half-century, but was dismissed by Trent Boult for 84 runs.
Gets it through, Matthews, stands. Just a fraction short, not a lot, and you'll just hit.
The Black Caps' bowling attack dominated the match after lunch as they were able to dismiss the last 5 Sri Lankan wickets. The Lankans were able to score 195 runs, handing the Black Caps their first win after 5 consecutive losses. This is incidentally the 4th win under the captaincy of Ross Taylor in 13 tests and the first win under coach Mike Hesson. The pick of the bowlers for New Zealand were Trent Boult and Tim Southee, who claimed 3 wickets each. The Man of the Match award was presented to New Zealand skipper Ross Taylor, while the Man of the Series award was presented to Rangana Herath for taking 20 wickets in the series.
Yeah, it's one victory. We don't want to get too carried away, but we've got to enjoy the moment. We played some very good cricket over 5 days. Sri Lanka pushed us at times, and we showed some good resilience and periods that were tough. In the last game in Galle, when we were under pressure, we folded. Where in this game, I think when we were under pressure, different people stood up at different times, and that's what happens in good teams. We just need to obviously be more consistent, going forward into the future.
First innings, obviously, the wicket was pretty good. They scored big runs, and Ross and Kane batted really well. So, and our opportunity came when we batted in the first innings to make sure that we put up a big score, and that's where we made the mistake. And from that point onwards, obviously, we were under pressure. So tough to pinpoint and say this is the reason why we win in Galle and how we lose here, but.
Well, it was an emotional day in Australia today as the country's most successful cricket captain Ricky Ponting announced his retirement from international cricket. Ponting told a stunned news conference that he would be calling time on his glittering 17-year career after this week's 3rd test against South Africa.
Ricky Ponting made his test debut at the age of 20 against Sri Lanka at the WACA in Perth in 1995 and went on to become Australia's most successful skipper with 48 test wins. Ricky Ponting has scored 13,366 runs in 167 tests at an average of 52.21 in his career, but he has struggled for form in the current series with South Africa.
I let the team know of my decision to make this test match my last. It's a decision that obviously I thought long and hard about, put in long consideration about the decision. At the end of the day, it was based on my results and my output really in this series so far. It hasn't been what I expected myself, and it certainly hasn't been to the level that I feel is required for batsmen and players in the Australian team. So, and as I've said all along, I continue to play this game as long as I felt that I could contribute to wins and play well enough to help the team win games. And over the last couple of weeks, I think that that my level of performance hasn't been good enough to do that.
I know I didn't have a feeling it was coming. I spoke to Ricky, or Ricky spoke to me, after the Adelaide Test match. And made his decision, I guess, over the last little while, last few days. And the boys are obviously hurting at the moment. He's been an amazing player for a long time. And that'll do me for today. Sorry, I can't answer that.
Ponting stood down from the Test captaincy last year and retired from one-day cricket in February. He has entered the record books as the second highest run scorer in the world in both Tests and one-days, the third highest number of centuries in Tests and the second highest number of centuries in one-days. Ponting stressed the decision to retire from Tests had not been prompted by the selectors and said it was not hard to miss out in one final Ashes contest next year because he realized he was not good enough to get there.
And finally, in sports news tonight, on Sports First focuses our attention on the 8th key issue mentioned in the report prepared by former CEO of the International Cricket Council, Harun Logard, on Sri Lanka cricket. The 8th key issue focuses on the National Selection Committee.
The Logard report has mentioned 3 issues pertaining to the National Selection Committee. One such issue is that the sports law requires the minister to approve a nominee to the selection panel and also requires the selection of a national or representative team to meet or play against foreign teams, inclusive of the appointment of the captain, shall not be announced until the approval of the minister is obtained. The report also states that numerous comments infer that the minister appoints the entire selection panel. Furthermore, the report notes that the selection panel is directly responsible for the selection of the under-19, the A team of the national team, in addition to determining the contract list of players and talent scouting.
Well, the thing is that the minister appointing the selection panel, I think that's a better way than the cricket board appointing the selection panel, because if the cricket board appoints the selection panel, then the selectors are actually under obligation to the board, because then it becomes difficult for the selectors to work independent. I think where they have to have full-time selectors, I think it's a necessity, and I have also been telling them in the same lines, because I don't think that selection can be, you have to have some in your committee, at least part of them as full-time selectors. And where the team is concerned about the approval from the minister, I feel that if the minister appoints the selection committee, I think that he has faith in the committee. So for it to go back to the minister for approval, I don't know whether that is necessary.